If I'm going too fast, just wave your hand, say, Bill, slow the F down, okay? And I will. All right, at least I'll try.
Bill, please.
Okay, slow the F down. See, already.
Just one thing, we are capturing you.
Good
so
luck.
If you That's exactly what I'm saying, so
the police
please.
have been saying the same thing for years. Bill, we're trying to capture you. It just hasn't worked.
Can you please stay just...
Stand still? Are you kidding me? Okay. You know me better than that. Okay.
Yeah, good luck.
I'll try. So, I guess I better get started. So, bottom line is, I want to talk to you a little about creativity and money. First of all, how many people in here would consider themselves on the creative side rather than on the money side of the fence? Could you just put your hand up? Okay, so about half of you are kind of creative, and I guess the other half are maybe interested in the money side. Okay, I'm going to try and address both of those. Maybe we start at the beginning. This is a line that I used to have up in my studio. Most people are creative. It's just that many people don't have the courage to go to the place that their creativity is going to take them. And I found that for a lot of people, this is a truism. And I'll give you just one very quick example of this. I had a young lady from Swiss Germany come to my recording studio some years ago. And she was applying to Juilliard School of Music in the United States, which, as you might know, is one of the world's leading schools of music. And she was a flautist, and she had to record a demo. And one of the parts of that demo was a 32-bar piece of blues, which she had to innovate. She had to create it. She could not write it down. She was not allowed to score it, but nonetheless had to play that 32 bars. And we went at it. We must have done 15 takes, and she just couldn't do it. And I knew she knew it. And I said to her, okay, listen, we're going to do something different. Okay, I'm going to take all the music away from you. I'm going to put you in the studio. I'm going to turn the lights out so that you can't see me. I'm just going to say go, and then I just want you to start playing. I said, I know you know this stuff. You can do it. Did that. Turned the lights out. Go. She nailed it. First take. Wonderful. She sends the tape off to school, and then she comes back to me and she says, oh, by the way, I got accepted. She said, I just wanted to tell you a little thing. I said, well, what? She says, well, when I sent my application in, they asked me under what conditions did I record my demo, because they thought my demo was really, really good. Of course, I was a little chuffed with this. And I said, well, what did you say? She said, well, I said Dr. Bill. That was my radio name here in Geneva back in the day. She said, I put on my application, Dr. Bill did it to me in the dark with my eyes closed. What can I say? It worked, okay? She got into Juilliard. But the bottom line is, many of us were not raised to be creative. And indeed, if you work in a corporate sphere, or if you work in an administrative type of organization, a bureaucratic type of organization, it can be argued that even the structure within which you're working doesn't really lend itself to your being creative. So in many cases, I think people are often creative not because of, but in spite of. But having said that, it still takes, there's a fair amount of effort that you have to go through to try and get in touch with your creativity. This is a picture by Cheyenne Coy that I like a lot. And the notion is, there's a lot going on the surface, and I'm talking about you as individuals. There's a lot that you've got going on in the surface, but I'm more interested in what you got, dare to dive deep. What's going on down here? Okay? Because as you all know, the iceberg, you only see the tip of the iceberg. The vast majority, the mass of the iceberg is below the water. And maybe that's true for people too. Maybe a lot of your creativity is hidden. Maybe some of you who think you're not creative actually are. I like to believe that everyone is creative. We just don't manifest our creativity the same way. But I like to think that we're all creative. I could be wrong. That could be a delusion. But you need to dare to dive deep, and that requires courage. Okay? That requires you going someplace where you probably don't go all the time. Because the truth is, if you want something that you don't have, the chances are you're going to have to go somewhere and do something that you haven't done before to get it. Bottom line. So dare to dive deep. Have the courage to go where most people don't bother to go. You don't need a lot of money to be creative. Creativity doesn't require money. On the other hand, there are a lot of creative people out there and a lot of creativity out there that's never seen a penny or a dime and never will. Okay? But the interesting thing is a lot of people didn't become creative. That's something I hear. Well, I want to become creative. As if something, you know, you can go to school and take a course and 6 months later you come out with a certificate that says, I'm creative. I'm not sure it works like that. Okay? And indeed, a lot of the creative people you know, that I know, the money's not really part of it. They want to draw because they love to draw. They want to sing because they love to sing. They want to paint because they love to paint. The money is incidental to some. Then you get others, and these are the people who are in the music business. These are the artists who are exposing in galleries where money becomes extremely important because they have already been able to establish the link between their creativity and their money. But for a lot of creative people, money is the last thing that they want to talk about. I mean, in the music industry, one of the things, believe it or not, that you often have to tell people is, hey, wait, this is a business, you idiot. If you want to sing, if you just want to sing, go lock yourself in the bathroom and sing to your heart's content. But the minute you say to people, I want to make money doing this, then you have to worry about something else. And that is, you have to worry about the person who's going to give you that cash. In other words, you can no longer be completely self-centered about your art and your creativity and whatever. Oh, that's wonderful. But the minute you want some money for that, you're going to have to deal with other people. And that means often, I hate to say it to my creative friends here, some degree of compromise. Okay? And that compromise can be painful. Whether you're an artist who's told by a gallery, I'm going to take 90% of your first earnings and I need you to think about painting something like this because people don't want that stuff that you're painting now. Okay? Or Lenny Kravitz goes in for his first album. You all know Lenny Kravitz? Yeah. Remember Lenny back in the old days with the big afro and all of that, looked like Jimi Hendrix? That was not Lenny Kravitz. That was the public relations agency who was working for the marketing company of the record company who dressed Lenny like that because that is the way a black person had to look to appeal to a white rock audience. You notice now Lenny's rich, his hair's short, he looks like a normal black guy. Funny that. Funny that. Okay? Now, you know, the interesting thing is even though these people don't go out to make money, some of them get rich. It's crazy. Some of them get rich. Not all of them. But some get rich even though they didn't intend to make money. Some of them make the money after they're dead, which means their families get to burn it. They don't. But sometimes, you know, I think if you were to go back and ask Woz and Jobs, you know, hey, did you guys plan to take over the computer industry in the world? I don't think the answer in those days would have been yes. I think it would have been another answer. Okay. So the fact that you don't necessarily start out to make money doesn't mean you can't make money. Okay? I want to draw that to your attention. I've worked with a lot of creative people who have made a hell of a lot of money who never really intended to do so. On the other hand, there's also a whole lot of creative people who never see a penny. Indeed, being penniless has a certain intellectual chic in some circles. Oh, I'm a starving artist. I know some wealthy young people in Geneva who have, you know, more money than Croesus, some could say, but bottom line is they spend their time living in squats so they can suffer for their art. And it's not just a Geneva phenomenon. Okay? You know, there's some people actually believe that, you know, if you got money, you can't really be an artist. Okay? There's this kind of intellectual chic that says if you're really going to be creative, you got to be poor and you got to wear Converse tennis shoes. Whoops. Don't feel bad. I almost put mine on this morning and I was like, nah, don't do that. Here's one of my favorite artists. I adore this woman. I am one of Lady Gaga. That's right. I'm one of her little monsters. Okay? And this is a quote from her that I just adore. Listen to this. When you make music, or write, or create, it's really your job to have mind-blowing, irresponsible, condom-less sex with whatever idea it is you're writing about at the time. Does that make sense to you guys? Huh? Everybody feel what she's trying to say? You know, and you might say, well, gee, yeah, that's really easy to say. And to some extent, This is the voice of the true artist. You notice there's nothing anywhere in there about cash. Okay? But nonetheless, this is the same lady who in 2011 had $90 million in revenues. Hello. Maybe there's something about that mind-blowing condomless sex that I need to get a little more familiar with. 90 million. She has 30 million little monsters. I'm one, and guess what? Never finished university. She's a dropout from New York University. I've spent the last 20 years of my life teaching at IMD and IE, and you know something? A lot of the students that went through that business school have never made a damn penny and never will. Because the business school doesn't teach you how to make money. You don't need to go to school to make money. You buy for 1, sell for 10, convince your schmuck that you deserve the 9 difference. I mean, you got to get a degree for that? Just got to be creative. Great statement. I love Gaga. Creativity, and then you know, when I was putting this together, I said to myself, well, wait a minute, maybe I should try and define creativity. So, I did a little bit of research, and this was a study that was done in 2007 in the United States. And it was done with 2 groups of people. One was school superintendents. Okay? These are the people who manage the people who train your children. Think about that. And the other one are businesses and employers. And look at the discrepancy in terms of what they thought creativity was. Okay? Probably only thing where they kind of agree, more or less, is the integration of knowledge across different disciplines. I don't know what the hell that means. Integration of knowledge across different disciplines? This is, okay, let me be kind. Or comfort with the notion of no right answer. Look at this. Okay, business says it's important. People in business say, wait a minute, so it's important that you be comfortable that you don't have the right answer. Because maybe it's not about the right answer, maybe it's about asking the right questions. Okay? But what I want you to see is there's a huge dichotomy between what our kids are being taught and what employers would like our children to be able to do. Just one comment. Now this is dated. This is 2007. I find this whole approach to creativity scary. Personally. So I looked for some other definitions and another source. This one is a little more modern. 2012. Okay? And in terms of what is creativity, here they're more talking about people with a fixed mindset. And I'm not going to read these to you. You guys can all read. If it's too small for anybody in the back, let me know and I'll be glad to clarify. Can't read a thing. Okay, fixed mindset. These are people who are certain about what they're doing. I know I got the answer. Okay, the creative mindset is flexible. Here it's closed to new information. Here it's open to learning. I won't take you through all of these because it'll be posted. You'll have it, and I'm already running a little bit short of time. Assessing and judging ideas. Notice the word judging. Developing unique and useful ideas. They're really two, I won't say 180 degrees apart, but they're 2 different worlds, 2 different ways of viewing the world. This, to me, makes a little more sense. Now, this has been adapted from quotes from people like Sir Anthony Jay, Gail Sheehy, Ernie Zielinski, people who've written rather significantly and I would say a lot about creativity. So you notice the difference just very quickly between kind of that approach, which to me is really almost worthless, to taking a look at creativity as a value set. Okay? Not just a process, which it is, but also a value set. Okay? Now, right? And I understood that you really love this quote. Creative that you are, okay? This is a quote that drives a lot of creative people up the wall. Now let me just back up. David Ogilvy, for those of you who are not familiar with David Ogilvy, he is one of the creators or one of the gurus of the advertising industry. David Ogilvy created Ogilvy, which is now Ogilvy and Mather and whatever, but did not only create one of the leading advertising agencies, but has also written extensively about how to work with customers and how to massage their minds, which is a term that I like to use and will be the title of my forthcoming book. Okay? If it doesn't, how many of you believe this? How many of you agree with this? Put your hands up if you agree with this. That's what I thought. Not a whole lot of people.
Oh no?
No. Put your hands up again. Maybe turn around and look at how many. What, we got 10 hands up here?
Oh wow.
If we got 10. So if it doesn't sell, it isn't creative. So therefore, if you don't believe this, you must believe something else. And I guess that is it doesn't matter whether it sells or not. Creativity is just creativity for the sake of being creative. And there's nothing wrong with that. As I said before, you want to be creative, you can lock yourself in the bathroom, paint to your heart's content. Because after all, the only one you need to please is you. But the minute you say to yourself, I want to please somebody else and I want to actually try and get some dollars for it, or some Swiss francs or euros or whatever, the game changes, you guys. Like it or not, the game changes. Because now you've got money coming into the picture. I tend to agree with Mr. Ogilvy, right? But then I'm a commercial guy. And putting creativity in a commercial sense, I would say that that's true. If it doesn't sell, it's not creative. In a commercial sense. But now you get out of a commercial sense and you just want to talk about creativity for the sake of creativity, because I like to play music, because I like to paint, because I like to write, then it could be argued this is completely irrelevant. But the minute you want to make money, that's another story. Being purely creative is a great way to lose money. I mean, I can think of the number of albums that I produced that never sold and wound up as boxes of CDs back in the day, stacked in front of my studio, actively looking for a home that it never found. It's a great way to lose money. And again, in commercial terms or in business terms, at the end of the day, it's not about the creativity, it's about what the creativity is going to do for the customer. Okay? And this is where the marketing man in me starts talking. Okay? Yeah, I love your wonderful idea. I love your great idea. But how much money are we going to make from your idea? Or as William James, the only real American philosopher, once said, what is the cash value of your idea? What is the cash value of your idea? Because the rest is intellectual masturbation. And we need to remember creativity costs, even if you're not getting paid. The time that you spend painting your picture, writing your book. I got another friend out here who's working on a book. Every time he sits there, that's a cost that he's absorbing. And a lot of us don't look at it that way. We're, oh, I'm painting or I'm playing music, and well, yeah, but there's a cost to you of doing that. And in commercial terms, whenever you have a cost, you'd like to see a return on your investment. So then the trick becomes, okay, with all this time that I'm spending doing all this creative stuff, how do I make sure I can pay my rent? Let alone drive a Mercedes or Aston Martin, or whatever your dream car may be. Okay? I'll give you a couple of examples here. The most expensive album ever produced cost $13 million. It was produced by an idiot called Axl Rose. He's richer than I am, so maybe he's not an idiot. I'll get back to that one a little bit later. Okay? The album was called Chinese Democracy by Guns N' Roses. Spent $13 million. Took him 8 years to produce. I'm not sure what the hell they were doing for 8 years. 8 years. It went platinum or gold in all the major markets, but it only sold 3 million copies. I mean, you can do the math yourself. Okay? So you might be saying, okay, well that's an okay return on investment. Really? Check this one out. The budget for Thriller, which is the best-selling album of all time, still today, was $750,000. Now, some of you are saying, yeah, Bill, well, wait a minute, this was in 1970 or 1980 terms, and if you equate the dollars, and actually it comes out to $1 billion, whoa, slow down. All I'm interested in is what was the return on investment on $1 invested in this project versus $1 invested, versus $1 invested in this project. Everybody with me here? Okay? And it's still selling. Some 20 years later, it's still selling. Michael's dead, for crying out loud. Quincy's on the verge of checking out. The album's still pumping out. Is there anybody in here who's never heard? You've all heard Thriller. Okay. Quincy Jones, by the way, is one of the world's leading music producers. Those of you who might not be familiar with Quincy. Mostly known for actually jazz and classical, more so than pop music like this. So, in some cases, people have spent a whole lot of money. In some cases, a little bit less money, and in some cases, I want to show you one of my favorite examples, almost no money at all. Now, hopefully this is going to work.
اعمل لك معايا سندوتش جبنه.
I mean, if you think about it, all of the, I mean, you could shoot this for $15, $20. Okay, so, you know, and this campaign was a huge success, and it's still being seen. You can check it out on YouTube. There's a few more. Made money for the company, obviously, selling Panda. Made money for the agency who came up with the concept. Made money for everybody. And didn't need to cost a lot of money. Okay, it's not always about the money. Again, it's about the creativity, and I just wanted to give you one little example of that. Now, while we may love creativity, and I notice most of you enjoyed our little Panda episode there, the market applauds value and utility. The market's all about, hey, I love your creativity, but bottom line is, what are you going to do for me? What are you going to do for me? It's about me. It's not about you. So no matter what you do, what you paint, what you draw, what you write, what you sing, what you play, what is that going to do for me? And this is, as a creative person, something you need to always keep in mind. That it's not just about you. You need to remember also that creativity and innovation are not the same thing. People pay for innovations. Sometimes they'll pay for creativity. Not very often. Creativity is a process. Innovation is an output. Okay? Remember that. And what most people are willing to pay for is the output, because it's the output that generates the utility for them. So with all of your being creative and all of that kind of good stuff, and please definitely go there, just remember at the end of the day that Gauguin painting has got to be useful to somebody. Somebody's got to think it's worth paying $30 million for, so they can put it up in their flash apartment down by the lake in Geneva, so that everybody comes in and goes, oh shit, you got a Gauguin, you must be rich. Whoa, I worship at the temple. Okay? Another issue, and this is maybe going to sit not so comfortably with some of the creatives in here, is that if you look around and if you look at companies which have been creative for decades, and there are a lot of them out there, if you look at companies which have been creative for decades, not just the one-shot wonders, not the Tamagotchi wonders or the new Wii Nintendo wonder, not, you know, it's relatively easy to get lucky. It's not so easy to reproduce success. Okay? To generate value over and over again for customers, it sounds easy, but it's actually pretty difficult to do. But the companies who have been able to do this have a process. They don't rely on what I call the eureka effect. Oh, geez, the bathwater's just the right thing. Guess what? I'm going to have another idea that I can sell for $1 million. Okay? It doesn't work like that. Okay? One-shot wonders are easy to come by. We all got great ideas. The trick is replicating that tomorrow, day after tomorrow, the month after that. Why? Because we want to generate a revenue stream. This is where I put the money in here. Okay? Even companies like IDEO, and if you're not familiar with IDEO, I would suggest you get Google them, find out who they are. IDEO is one of the world's largest independent innovation and product development companies. Apple's mouse was designed by IDEO, for example. The space shuttle that was used by the United States up until recently was also designed by IDEO. And they are the inventors of a technique known as the deep dive. But now, your process could be nothing more than having a breakfast meeting with all of your people every Monday. Or quarterly meetings with all of your managers from various parts around the world to bring them together to make sure that they can share ideas and hopefully get the creative juices flowing. Okay. Think process. Okay. It's easy to have the one-off, but when you want a revenue stream that you can count on, you need to be able to be repeatedly creative. And that's not just given, it doesn't happen by accident. Okay? Don't rely on what I call the eureka effect. I'm running way past my time. Remember that most companies sell dreams. And why is that interesting to us? Excuse me. Because as creative people, one of the things we are really good at is dreaming. We have a lot of dreams. A lot of things we like to do and we think others should do and companies should do. So bottom line, remember that companies sell dreams, and remember something else that's very important. There is more money than there are good ideas. some of you may say, well, Bill, if that's true, how come I don't have any of it? Well, I'll give you some hints on how to get that. I'll give you some hints. Remember the whole notion of utility. But there's more money than there are good ideas. That's why venture capital funds exist. That's why angels exist. So the owners can sit on the beach while you go make them money. So remember what I call the three magic money words. Who, what, and how. And actually, if you were to spend $80,000 and go get a business degree at London Business School, your strategy professors would tell you that business strategy, basically, all business strategy, can basically be reduced to these three questions. Who do you want to serve? Who's your target customer? Okay, so you're painting. So who do you want to buy the book? Who do I want to buy my album? Okay, Troy Carter is Lady Gaga's manager. Her new album will not be an album. Lady Gaga's new album is going to come out as an app. Okay? Who is Troy Carter targeting as the customers for that app? And trust me, the market research has already been done. They know exactly who they want to target. Okay? So who, what? What are you going to offer them? What we call in business the value proposition. What are you going to put on the table and say, hey, you want this, don't you? Okay. What is that going to be? And then the third part is how are you going to differentiate what you do from all the other crazy stuff that's out there? Okay. Why should I come to you? The three magic money words, what I call the magic money words, who's it for, what's it going to do for them, and how is it going to be different from anything else out there? What you need to do is marry creativity, desire, and money. Okay? Now, those of you who are interested in getting into the arts and making money into the arts, I suggest you do a little bit of research on the psychology of desire, because that's a very fascinating field. I've spent a fair amount of time researching it. That's not my topic to talk about today. But if you can marry these three together, you have a good chance of laughing all the way to the bank. Okay? This is being proactive. You can't expect it to happen. You have to make it happen. Okay? Marry creativity, desire, and money. And maybe a couple of final points, if I may. With all that you're doing, remember to have fun. Why? You're more productive when you have fun. You're more creative when you have fun. And this is not Bill Carney. You can check the research. You're more productive. Right? You're more efficient. You're more effective when you're having fun. And it's one thing that's always blown me away is when I walk into a lot of big companies and walk around and everybody's quiet, so serious. You know why they're quiet and serious? Because they're all pretending to do something useful. If you were really doing something useful, then you don't have to be all quiet and useful, because you don't have to hide. So have fun. Dance your own dance. Don't dance somebody else's dance. Dance your own dance. We're all unique. Yes, there's a lot that we all have in common, but at the end of the day, every single one of you in here is unique. There may be a value in your uniqueness. When I say value, I mean market-based value if you bother to try and explain it. Dare to dance your own dance. Don't do the same, excuse my French, don't do the same tired shit that everybody else is doing. Any idiot can copy. Any idiot can copy. Everybody remember Yoda from Star Wars, the little green guy with the ears? Right? He says that Luke Skywalker, when Skywalker was trying to lift his ship out of the mud, and he almost got it, fell back, and Yoda looks at Skywalker and he says, don't try, do. Now, in a sense of creativity and money, this is getting easier thanks to Kickstarter. We started a company not so long ago, maybe about a year ago. Just went to Kickstarter first time, told the market, we need 50,000. Market gave us 50,000. We used that money to do the first run of the product. The product is called Waka Waka Solar Light. Waka Waka as in Shakira, Waka Waka. Waka Waka Solar Light. We recently went back, like a month and a half ago, and we said, hi guys, us again. We want 50,000, but we'd really like 200,000. Okay? Within the month, We had $475,000 from the United States and another 200,000 euros on the Dutch Kickstarter site for a product that wasn't even made yet. So there are other people. What I'm telling you is that if you're creative, you got a dream, you want to go someplace, there's a mechanism now for gathering and getting in touch with all those other crazy people who just might have the same delusion that you do and are willing to jump on your train and see if it actually gets to the destination. Okay. So it's easy for me to say this now because, hey, guess what? There is a support mechanism. We've used it. It works. And don't let anybody tell you that if you're a Swiss company or a Dutch company, you can't use Kickstarter. That's bullshit. We just did it. Okay. You might remember Jerry Maguire. Those of you who saw the movie. It's all about show me the money. I mean, and we get back to the point of, yeah, you're being creative and you're drawing whatever. I mean, who the hell cares if you ain't making any money? I didn't look at you when I said that, okay? Okay? Nothing wrong with this. Money is not a crime to make money. A lot of creative people act like, oh, well, Bill, I'm prostituting myself if I take money. So? What? Just be a good prostitute. What can I say? Another thing is, years ago I read a book called How to Be Your Own Best Friend. It's one of the best books I ever wrote. Because one of the things is when you're creative and you want to try and do something new, you don't always get a lot of support. Because you might be the only one who has the vision. You might be the only one who sees that particular way to cure malaria that no one else has ever looked at before. And they may all tell you, you're crazy, Bill, this will never work. It's all bullshit. Solar lights, ha, ha, ha. Oh, really? Okay. At certain points, you switch off. Just switch them off and look at yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. And you got to have faith in what you see. You got to believe in yourself, and you need to be your own best friend, particularly in moments when nobody else is willing to go there. And then finally, I'm originally from Harlem. And Harlem's got a reputation for black preachers. You know, the African American, everybody's clapping and rolling in the aisles and having a great time. And back in the day, in the 50s, was a guy called Reverend Ike, who was one of the most flamboyant of the Harlem black preachers. And he was great because what he would do, he was so creative. He would sell you blessings. Right? You like that? Let's see you like that. Right? Hey, Rev, what's up? Rev's like, yo, give me $10, I'll sell you a blessing. You'll be blessed for the day. Okay, yo, here's a $10 Rev. You blessed for the day. Oh, next! Right? And he became so popular, he had a nationwide radio show. Tonight, 7:30 p.m., WRET, Ideas Make Millionaires. Hello. And this is one of his favorite quotes. And I would like to leave my comment to you, my remarks to you on this note, which is very simply, if you're so damn smart, how come you're not rich? Thank you very much for your patience with me this morning. Look forward to chatting with you. Any questions? Anybody got any questions? Or rotten eggs? Or
1, 2, 3.
Show me your money!